My bitch ugly, nigga. My bitch ugly, nigga.
Despite the high bar set by the Forever Story, this latest JID album was preceded by some music that tempered my expectations. His collaborations with JID were pretty mediocre, but fortunately it wasn't really his fault. He's pretty consistently great on everything he puts out. It's mainly his collaborators weighing down the songs. There was a pre-Lux release before the album which contained 4 songs. It had a JID feature that was kinda memorable but didn't do enough, and an Eminem feature that does too much to the point of being forgettable. The rest of the tracks are pretty standard fare for JID, with my favorite moment being the intro to Behold. I love the fuzzy, high-pitched vocals and production. It really seems like a new direction for JID. The song moves away from that sound into something a bit more expected, with JID showcasing a dynamic rapping performance and aggressive style. The song is pretty good, but I wish that the beginning part would return in some way to add some musical contrast or some beauty amidst the onslaught. The lead single for the album was Work, which was definitely a weird choice. It didn't really make clear what the direction for the album was going to be, and its audience wasn't super clear either. The fundamental idea of the song seems to be like it's for the everyman, but it almost feels like it's trying to be a hit with its repetitive sections, but I fail to see how that could work when it's so chaotic and weird. It ends up working really well on the album, so I'll talk about it a bit later. But going into the album, the lead up caused expectations to be very muddy. Onto the album, which starts with You Ugly. It perfectly sets up a sonic evolution for JID. While his previous work sounded very precise, this one sounds much messier, with a chaotic energy provided by Westside Gunn perfectly setting up the tone. Of course, that promise isn't really fulfilled, with most of the songs feeling in line with his previous work, but that idea sort of maintains itself with some occasional chaotic or angry moments. Next is Glory, which comes equipped with an incredible choir-backed beat, with JID able to talk about his faith in ways that feel both divine and sinister. Work fits much better here stylistically and thematically, with an understanding that God will reward your hard work. It also lays the foundation for the track 4 Keeps, which closes the record. Community is an obvious highlight, with clips cementing their dominance of the year with a pair of impeccable verses. The song is angry, pointing to the violence, poor material conditions, and societal pressures that harm their communities and result in limited, usually undesirable outcomes. This theme is continued with G's, which takes aim at the people demonizing this community, as the racism that fuels those ideas leads to worse conditions for the communities affected. VCRs is a dark beat that perfectly fits a Vince Staples feature. They both flow so smooth, painting pictures of life with an undertone of unfulfilledness. With these first 6 songs, I was pretty bought into the idea that this album is really going to go somewhere with something to say. Unfortunately, in comes a detour. The next 5 tracks feel like a huge departure from the previously established styles, and they end up honestly boring me a bit. Don't get me wrong, the songs are pretty good, I'm not saying they aren't, but they feel shoehorned in there, and having them all back to back makes me forget what I'm listening to. After a few songs, I'm pretty tuned out and vibing, which is fine in a vacuum, but every time I listen all the way through, it's a struggle to refocus for the final stretch. If it was 1 or 2 songs, it'd be fine, but 5 tracks feels like it wastes too much time, especially What We On, which meanders way too much with its repetitive hook. Also, I think the beginning of Don Toliver's verse sounds like a Frank Ocean song, but I have no clue which one, or if I'm making that up, so if any experts want to do some sleuthing and confirm or deny, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, basically, if you just kept skating wholeheartedly, I think this stretch would be much less of a slog to get through, and the album would feel much more cohesive rather than feeling that the middle is just carelessly inserted from a random assortment of less rap-focused songs to be more accessible. The last stretch are 4 songs that feel out of sequence. You go from vibing in the middle section to the aggressive On McAfee with Baby Kia. Then you go to Of Blue, which starts chill, picks up the pace in the middle, then ends vibey again. Then you go to the slow but intense aggressive K-Word, and finally, you end with the relaxed and upbeat 4 Keeps. It really is just a back and forth between styles, and whether that's intentional or not, it didn't land with me. I think switching Of Blue and K-Word would have made for the last stretch to be much more palatable, and would have made for a great ending with Of Blue and 4 Keeps being the last 2 songs. I can dream. Still, the songs are good, excellent even. With the idea that God will make things as they should be through karma, the album ends on a high note, with the passion and grind paying off for JID. Overall, the record is a bit clunky, but the theme of God liking ugly, being present in his life, relationships, and community, feels like it mostly comes across. Obviously, I think it could use some tweaking, maybe moving some songs to the pre-Lux, but it's far from a bad record. JID is still in top form with exceptional rapping ability, that much is obvious. His ability to effortlessly fire off clever lines while maintaining interesting and creative flows puts him in the top tier of rappers this decade. While I'm not crazy about this release, I'm still very excited for his future work. That being said, I'm gonna give this album a strong 7 to a light 8. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.